Welcome back, tribe. Got an episode here from Jim B. He's 51, never married, no kids. And what is the reason, Jim?
Hello.
Hello there.
This is my very first YouTube video.
Okay.
I've watched a lot of YouTube. Interesting thing is I didn't start watching YouTube until 2020 during the lockdowns. I was remodeling my late father's house. He had passed away. I decided to remodel it and was looking up some information on flooring and plumbing and all that good stuff. And then all these videos popped up. And then noticed on the side all these other channels and videos. And that's what got me started in YouTube and just consuming different types of content. And so I thought, after all these years, starting my own YouTube channel, but was not sure what would be my topic, what would I talk about. And so I thought, well, just share my story for now. Everybody has a story. And so I think when we share our stories, I think we'll be surprised on how many people can relate to them. And we realize we're not alone. And that's something that I've learned by watching YouTube as well. So what about me? What's something that is worthy of sharing? Of many things. I'm 51, never married, no children. And I know there's a lot of people out there like me that get asked why you're not married. Why didn't you get married? You know, you're a good looking guy. You've got a lot of good things going for you. I'm surprised some girl hasn't just snatched you up there, Jim.
How did we get here, Jim?
Throughout the years, I did date, and I always thought that I would be married and have children. I planned for it. I grew up in church, Christian church. And so I had those values growing up and joined the military after I graduated high school. I ended up retiring from the military after 23 years, U.S. Army, and did well for myself and was successful at it. And like I said, I dated throughout the years. And either the women that I liked didn't like me back in return, ones that I was really interested in. And then those that I didn't think we had a connection or I just wasn't into them, they were the ones into me. I've never been in a situation where it was mutual. I've never been in a dating situation where
basically all the pretty girls didn't like him and all the ugly ones that he wasn't attracted to did like him. So we had a values mismatch here. Unfortunately, this is what happens to, I guess what you could say, an average, nice, humble dude, respectful, that's handling his business, but he doesn't really stand out in any remarkable way. And, maybe some of his Christian values are implanted in that, so he didn't settle for some of these women. But his story isn't exactly unique. It's happening to quite a few men, and especially some of the older guys that have already been through it, a lifetime of this stuff. They'll tell you that, when you are completely average, this whole hypergamous nature and what we're seeing today with the younger generation and dating apps has already been playing out in society in the West. It just got ramped up to like a level 11 on the dial just because the interconnectivity of having internet nowadays. Essentially, the market is global now. But this is not a new phenomenon. And unfortunately, this mismatch in what women are looking for versus how much they're valued actually properly, in the market versus what an average man is valued. This kind of narrative of you need to have it all, the cherry on top of the cake, everything has been in play since, after the advent of feminism, essentially. So we got, 60 plus years of this stuff seeping into the mainstream. All the news articles telling women about, Sex in the City and, living a hypersexualized lifestyle and trading men like you trade underwear and just literally being a sexual degenerate. And then they had during his time, the psychedelic age. I love psychedelics, but there was a sexual revolution underpinned with all that about, bodily autonomy and sexual freedom and kind of ripping away from the conservative values that society had been underpinned by. So this newfound sexual freedom, the revolution, kind of swept over society. And then, a certain part of these genders started thinking that settling down was somehow beneath them, that getting an average man was beneath them, that they deserve the highest quality men they could get, and they should not settle under any circumstances. And then you had a bunch of women, so men were learning from other men. Then you had a bunch of women that were happily in marriages. I won't even say happily. They were in marriages that were steady and stable with a man that loved them and was taking care of them. And they felt somehow that they were missing out on this hypersexualization, this sexual revolution, and how their compatriots, all their single sisters, were out there having a blast with all their crazy stories. And then you get into the age of like Sex in the City and like the boss girl lifestyle, the early beginnings of that. And so you had a conglomerate of women in marriages that were now becoming unhappy due to the content they were consuming. You know, before all these degenerate TikToks and all that, you know, the fucking smut shit that women were consuming was like Cosmopolitan. It's like if your woman reads Cosmo magazine, she was absolutely broken. It's like being a TikTok degenerate today. Cosmo, bro. Your girl reads like, if you guys could see, I remember even as a kid, just seeing what the covers of the Cosmo magazines were like, 6 ways to really please a man, what men are actually good for, how to lead him in the bedroom, why settling down doesn't make sense for the modern woman today, and like the most degenerate shit ever. And women were consumed, dude, it was like viral the way women were consuming that shit. So that mentality seeped into the consciousness, and it just sprouted off this like multi-headed monster that we have today, where they are perpetually unhappy. There will never be enough men. And no matter what they get, even if they get the top tier guy, it's never enough because there's someone better around the corner. Yeah. I think the culture is so rotten that it's better not to partake in it. Personally speaking, after being overseas, I'm good, dude. I would never. You couldn't pay me. It's like fighting an uphill battle to convince someone of your goals, of your dreams, of your value. You're constantly having to show them what you're worth instead of 2 people coming together to build each other up. I'm good. I'm good on that, bro. When they're complaining about being taken to restaurants just because it's a franchise or it's not the 5-star place, we're in a real bad spot. You're dropping $200-$300 on her and she's like, I can't believe we didn't go to the 5-star place that Jenna went to. Ridiculous.
We were both into each other. It was always one-sided. And not only that, watching YouTube, I came across the red pill content. Some of you are familiar with it, where you have content creators sharing about the nature of women and what they respond to, what they're attracted to, what their natural state is. That is something that I did not know years ago. And here I am, 51 years old, wishing that I had learned about the nature of women 30 years ago. And that would have helped me tremendously in my dating life.
Mm-hmm.
When I floundered around, just did not get it right. All the things that you could do wrong in dating,
He did.
I did each and every one of them.
Simping.
Showing too much interest, probably appeared too needy, too available. I was too easy for her. She didn't have to compete for me. I answered text messages too soon. I called too soon after dates. Go right on down the list. I did them.
Yeah.
And didn't realize what I was doing was actually turning them away. Then I discovered on YouTube this book called No More Mr. Nice Guy by Dr. Robert Glover.
Real good book.
And it turns out that I am a nice guy. And I had heard women in the past say that to me, Jim, you're too nice. But I didn't necessarily know what that meant. What did that mean? And so that book really opened my eyes to what a nice guy is. And you'll hear, the expression, girls don't like nice guys, or nice guys finish last. And how true that is.
Yeah, essentially, a nice guy is a dude with no boundaries that puts his woman before him and his like core needs. So you're putting a woman up on a pedestal. A nice guy is never going to be respected by a woman for that exact reason. Women want men that put themselves before everyone else, that are willing to go out in society and aggressively take what's theirs. A nice guy will just take what's given to him, and that includes scraps, excuse me. So when you're a pushover, when she tells you she doesn't want to talk or she's busy, or you recommend you do some activity and she shoots you down, or you play it too slow and she loses interest because you're trying to be nice. You don't make your intentions known. She knows you're afraid. She knows you won't be a man and tell her what you want. Put expectations on her on how to behave. You have no boundaries. It's not attractive to women because if she could push you around and manipulate you and get you to give up your time, your energy, and your resources without getting something in return, if you're not brazen enough to just say, we're not friends, I'm here because I'm sexually interested in you and I want to get to know you more. That's all there is to this. So if you don't feel the same later because I got to go find another date, just being that brazen with them, they respect and find that attractive. If you're the dude that's like on the date with a girl that's not a date, but we're just friends and it's just really nice, but he's like secretly in love with her. We know this guy. Maybe we've been this guy already for people watching the video. And it's like, can't make my move on her. I don't want to mess up our friendship. And she's talking to this guy and you're the dude that's the emotional tampon and she's just spilling all her bullshit of her dating life and looks at you as less than. You're not even a sexual interest. She doesn't look at you that way. You're beneath like even a brother. You're just a meat vehicle that happens to give her male presence without asking for any of the things a male would normally ask for. You're not a male in her eyes. You're something worse. And that's why they get disgusted at the thought of having sex with you. You're not even a man. That's what it means to be a nice guy.
And I would recommend any man who is a nice guy or been told that to pick that book up and read it. And when I read that book, it was looking at myself in the mirror. And so that being a nice guy, not knowing about women natures, definitely some of the reasons why I was not successful in my love life, never got married, was not able to get married, and didn't have children. And like I said, I prepared for it. In the military, I prepared for it financially. I thought about my wife and I's house. I put money away, started investing in mutual funds, and thought, let's go ahead and start saving for that 20% down payment for a mortgage. I thought about our future kids. I figured I'd have at least 2 kids, put money away in mutual funds for that.
Hey, on the bright side, could be worse, bro. You could be here making I'm 51, got wrecked in divorce, wife took my kids. I didn't see it coming. I lost everything. It could be worse, guys. So, hey.
And then our retirement into a Roth IRA and been maxing that out ever since. And so and I still have that money invested. So with my military pension, I can live comfortably without having to work. And I have worked, by choice. But right now I'm not doing anything right now. I'm currently at a park, just enjoying myself here in Ohio. The weather.
See, since this guy's he's retired and is already getting paid from the military, I wonder how much his tune would change if he went somewhere like Southeast Asia. If he went to Thailand or the Philippines. I wonder, dude. Because there's guys that are older than him, way worse looking than him. I mean, absolute bottom of the barrel, beer gut, disgusting corn toes, balding, nasty as fuck looking dudes that just go over there and still get women. They may not be like complete stunners, but they get a woman that cares for them, treats them right, is really feminine, and like completely changes their outlook on life. They would have otherwise like probably died virgins in the West, but again, different value systems out on the other side of the world. So maybe he still has time. There's how many dudes did we see cover videos of guys like 65 years old, already had a family, was married, got divorced, and it just decided to retire with whatever he had left from his pension and go to the Philippines and poop, all of a sudden he's got a whole nother family. It can't happen, bro. It can.
There's nice 65 degrees right now, comfortable, and read all the books. The 5 love languages, the men are from Mars, women from Venus, the dating books. Some of them were Christian based, some of them were not, and consumed those books. I would listen to Christian radio back in the day, when I was going to and from work in the Army, Focus on the Family with James Dobson and Bob Lepine, and just really thought I was going to set myself up for success so that when I did get married, that I would not be a part of that 42 to 50% of marriages that end in divorce. Which brings up another point. In the military, the divorce rate is high.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw that. And I saw how men got ruined. and struggled in divorce, losing.
Yeah, soldiers, thank you for your service, but you guys are some of the biggest simps of all time. Soldier bros, I don't know. It's like ingrained in them to just simp hard, bro. Guy starts to get a decent check. He then gets a charger on like 28% interest, bags a chick, gets her pregnant if he gets her pregnant. Some guys just start deploying overseas shortly after and then come home and that baby doesn't look anything like you. Math ain't mathing up. You're wondering, what the hell? How could this happen to me? And you're welcome to the club, buddy. You're one of many. And you're just going to go through the motions, get your divorce, swear off women for a while, and yada, yada. I mean, God, life's so interesting, huh? They really need to have boys' schools where they make like learning about female nature mandatory. Honestly, I think some of these red pill channels are doing the Lord's work for a lot of men. Just like he was saying, if he had, and I read it all the time in the comments, I wish I knew this stuff 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. If I had only known this stuff, I can't really foresee. I just could only imagine what the next 15, 20, 30 years looks like with so much of this content out there in the open and the future generations of men just being equipped with all this knowledge. No more Mr. Nice Guy bullshit. No more walking wallet. There will always be simps and toads that have no spine and get walked all over by women. Sure. But for the majority of the men that have some value in themselves, some self-respect, there's no more getting caught like blindsided about the reality of female nature. Now that's going to be interesting to see what that does to society. Is that going to cause like a pressure in the market for women to become more conservative? I wonder. Because if men wholesale just look at women and go, tattoos, no thanks, bull ring, colored hair, too loud, too aggressive, like their version of icks, basically, that women do today, I wonder what's that going to do with selection pressure in dating. Because 2040, we're looking at 40%. Was it 2040 or 2030? I can't even remember. In the next 10 years or so, over 40% of women are going to be childless, husbandless, and got no man around. And that number is probably going to skyrocket. I think this is like a parabolic effect. And so where and when do we arrive at that point where people start to regress back into more traditional conservative values that has served our parents well, our great grandparents? That's a curious one, dude. Because the rubber band has to come back.
Assets, a home, living in their car or living in their buddy's basement until they could get themselves back on their feet again. And here's the thing. In the 23 years I was in the military, not one of my Army buddies told me, Jim, you should get married. What did I routinely hear? Jim, don't do it. It's a trap. How often I wish, Jim, I was still single. Oh man, Jim, I miss my single life. Your time is your time. I admire you.
And those are all comments of dudes that were simping, got with the first woman that showed them attention because they maybe had no experience. Clam got them locked up in a marriage that they should otherwise not be in, not thinking straight. And now you're living this miserable experience where the woman is basically whipping you around the house, weaponizing sex. You already got a dead bedroom. He treats you like a roommate, constantly sucks your wallet dry. You're getting hardly any benefits because she's not even keeping the house tidy at least. And you're coming home to just arguments and nagging. That's insane, bro. Take your time finding the right woman. She needs to add to your life. If you come home and it is a negative experience, get fucking rid of her. If you come home and she doesn't add peace to your life, add happiness to your life, makes your life easier, makes you more efficient, get rid of her. You're already battling the world when you step out of the house, trying to make a living, trying to make your way out here in this crazy ass society we built. The last thing you want to do is go home to some fucking harpy that adds weight on your shoulders. More arguments, more headaches, doesn't appreciate you, constantly fighting about everything, doesn't share your vision. All that shit is a result of the man not taking his time to do his due diligence on the woman, bro. Imagine like buying a car. Don't give a fuck for the women listening, telling, man, he's comparing us to cars. It's a great comparison for a man, just like you compare us to jobs. When you go buy a car, what do? You check it. You check the shit out of it. How many miles does it got? Why is that creaking? This door seems a little off. Why is that windshield cracked? Has it been in any accidents? When's the last time you changed the oil? Checking the tires. How bald are they? Go take it for a test drive. Does it ride smooth? Does the transmission make a weird noise? Is the steering wheel shaking? Is there check engine lights coming on? What's going on with this car? And after all that vetting, verification, then you make the decision to buy or not. You know what guys are doing today, or a lot of what those guys did that ended up in those situations? They got a fucking lemon, bro, without even checking it. They saw the outside. The car was beautiful. Nice sports car. Wow, tremendous. I'll buy it. So they step into it, and then all of a sudden, a few months later, the fucking problems start. Hey, second gear is changing a bit too goddamn hard. I'm locking up in third too much. What is up with this ABS module? It's starting to burn oil too much. I just noticed a patch on the ground where I usually park. Damn, this check engine light. This electrical problem. My window's gotten stuck now. Hey, this rattle won't go away. All the little problems that you would have seen otherwise start to pop up. But guys don't take their time. Do you know why? Because if cars could talk back, your car was probably telling you, buy me right now. You need to buy me right now. If you want to take another ride, you got to buy me right now. Right now is you got to buy me. You can't get in me and drive me until you buy me. So some of them say, and they'll have like used car, 7 owners, 500,000 miles. Come on, bro. Use that analogy, guys. When you go shop for cars, that's the same way you got to go shop for women. Vet them well, take them for a test drive, redline the shit out of them, put them in positions where you get to see their true nature come out, stress the car a little bit, right? Because you want to see if the engine and the transmission can handle it. Stress your woman out a little bit. You want to see what she's like when she's angry, when she's sad, when she's depressed. You want to see how she handles struggle, pressure. And then you'll know if you have a good partner and you make the decision to buy, aka get down on one knee. Until that day comes, if you're unsure, you do not get down on one knee. You do not buy the car. You just sit on it. I'll think about it. Done.
Smart man. And the list goes on. And even I've had women tell me this too. Things like, well, Jim, marriage is not what it's cracked up to be. If you don't plan on having kids, stay single. And even sharing with me details about intimacy. And, Jim, once you get married, she's going to stop doing certain things. And, those things are going to stop, right? And so they were even.
And again, that only stops when you were negotiated or settled for. Because some women, if we're using the same analogy, imagine they're the sports car that's just willing to take any buyer as it's aging out, as the value's dropping, as the creaks and the little high-pitched sounds start appearing, engine knocking and shit like that. That's when they'll be like, I'll take this buyer. His credit score is ass. He doesn't make enough to barely afford me, but it's better than sitting on the lot and just getting test driven around by multiple prospective buyers. And yet nobody's taking me home. That's a good analogy.
Straightforward with me, women. And so I think for a time there, I was not looking all that hard. I was looking, but not looking. And I focused on my military career, school, was able to earn a bachelor's degree, master's degree in the military. I traveled. I went up the corporate ladder, the rank structure, from enlisted to non-commissioned officer to a warrant officer, and later retired as a captain. So I wore all the ranks and all the different Army schools. And I would say I absolutely crushed it. Did well, did everything I ever wanted to do in the military. And then some. And now I have the benefits, the pension. I still have my health. I'm very thankful that I survived it all.
Asia, bro.
I'm an Afghanistan veteran and all that. I don't have any PTSD. I'm thankful for that. And so I'm very thankful. And I always remind myself of that and just how blessed I am. And I'm on Facebook. I've been on and off on Facebook. You hate it and you love it, But a lot of my Army friends are on Facebook. That's how I can stay in touch with them. And high school classmates are on there. And so it's nice having that Facebook to be able to reach out to those folks instead of just deactivating it completely and not having access to them. And so now here I am, 51, with this new knowledge that I've learned on YouTube and how you educate yourself. You're learning about the true nature of how things are, from relationships to marriage.
Yeah, if I didn't go through my phase in college and bed so many women and saw the good and the bad of female nature and start to see what works, what didn't, do the whole, I guess you could call it the pickup artist thing, early red pill thing, just experimenting and figuring it out as I go. I also had guys around me that were very successful, so it was easy to mimic them and then take what they taught me and then make it my own. So went through the motions and I couldn't imagine my life right now. I think there were multiple instances, say if I graduated college and I did the same thing, dating that I was doing, but without the knowledge, I would be in trouble right now. I think I would have been easily in a relationship, married with kids with the wrong woman. I'm pretty sure because there have been multiple women that I've come across, say the post red pill experience, awakening, whatever you want to call it. And there are subtle red flags that I would have never foreseen. And I would have pushed for relationships and I would have gotten absolutely burned in the worst way possible. Yeah. So I can see when you're completely blind to the truth that you meet someone that seems like a good match for you, but you're completely blind to all the red flags. And by the time you get down on one knee and the first kid comes out, you're in that hellacious marriage we talked about earlier. And by then you're trapped. And she's got the long dick of the law backing her and a biased court system. You're fucked.
Dating, women nature, from the corrupt government.
There we go.
How these churches and how corrupt they can be, and how they take advantage of people, and they're taking money from folks, and how it's just become so secular in the church now, and it's rock bands and skinny jeans and big screens, and there's hardly any type of true biblical
faith
practices going on.
Mm-hmm.
Is it really about conforming to the likeness of Christ and all of that? And it just seems like it's just a club in a big community center. And I was what's the word, disenchanted or discontented with the modern day church. So I don't attend them anymore. And then now hearing and listening to other YouTube channels, it's possible that Jesus may have been a made up character. That rocked my world. I'm like, what? How could that be?
Whoa.
And it does make you wonder when you read the literature and you listen to the videos. It very well could possibly be that Jesus Christ was made up, and the Bible is myth and allegory, stories. And so that rattles you when you've based your life on the Christian faith. And so that's something that I'm now struggling with. My goodness, is this just a well-written book now? Even though I think the Bible is still a great book. And the 10 Commandments alone, my gosh, just think if we just followed those. So in years recent, my whole world has been flipped upside down in what to believe. And I know as I sit here in this park and I'm hearing these birds and I see the sky and the grass and the trees, I know this just didn't happen on its own. I mean, it's beautiful. And then there's a river right over here. And so something tells me this was divinely created. So I have to say, I still believe in a creator. And, but I just wonder sometimes, is what we were taught really the true story? And then just because we don't believe a certain way, or you have people that are Hindu, and some of my best neighbors were non-Christian. They were Indian and practiced, their faith, and, Buddhists and all of that. And to say that if they don't put their faith and trust in Christ, like the Bible teaches, that those folks are going to go to hell and burn for all eternity. I tell you, I used to believe that. It scared the crap out of me. And so I have to question that. Is there really a place where a lake of fire where you burn for all eternity?
Of course not.
So it's a struggle right now. It's an absolute struggle right now for me, where I'm just questioning everything. And you're learning about the pharmaceutical industry and how it's about profits, the medical industry.
Oh, he's really waking up.
You look at how it's the system is set up to keep Americans sick.
Oh, yeah.
And look at us in America, how fat we are and sick we are, and the cancers and It is huge business.
Name them.
And then the military. And here I am, a military man, learning and realizing now after I reflect on it, war is a big racket. General Smedley Butler, I think World War I time frame. General wrote a book about it. War is a racket, and it really is. As General Eisenhower said, the military industrial complex. And I was a part of that. Joined the military with this hoorah patriotism, red, white, and blue, U.S. flag waving, serve my country. And then realizing, and then you look at Afghanistan, I saw it firsthand. What a mess. And you spent all that time, spent all that money, and then you have to ask, for what?
He's really waking up. I got red pill on life. Jeez.
And now I know why my father didn't want me to join the military. He was the Vietnam War era. But he was later, he passed away in 2020. And that's when and then that COVID hit, and then you were locked down, and then I inherited the home and decided to remodel the house. And that's when I started discovering the YouTube videos. But he was proud of me and what I was able to accomplish in the military. So it's nothing to sneeze at, for sure. And I took advantage of all the opportunities and got out of there unscathed, you know. But if I had it over to do again, I don't think I would have chosen that path, knowing what I know now. And so I guess that's just something to share. Maybe there's people out there that are my age or maybe even younger that are in this position where it's like, wow, you know, you're learning things about yourself. You learn that you were a nice guy. You know, you realize now where you've gone wrong. And here's the other thing I learned recent: social anxiety disorder. And I looked that up, and I was watching a video on that. And I think I exhibited some of that, and still in some ways do. But I've done well to overcome it, and I can get out in front of people. I can talk to people. I trained people in the Army. I taught classes and gave briefings and PowerPoint slides. And so I'm.
Oh, he gets into expat. Okay, here we go.
And so, and then you want to get into a relationship in the U.S., but then you realize the way the divorce rates are, the way the system is set up, it makes you want to take a step back and say, you know what? I may get into a relationship in the U.S., but I'm sure as heck not going to get married. Is it too late for me? No. And I've been watching content creators living abroad in Southeast Asia and
there we go.
Other places around the world that have left the U.S., expats, and have found success in dating. They've got folks that are in the Philippines and finding what they say more fit, feminine, and friendly women in those cultures. They're more traditional in some of these places, unlike here in the United States with the high feminism, and a lot of women are masculine and just obesity. And I know personally, I don't like all the tattoos. I don't like nose rings and purple pink hair, and I'm just not attracted to that. And you see a lot of it here in the U.S. and single moms, a lot of single mothers. And so it just makes the dating scene in the United States a challenge.
Toxic.
And so I've been contemplating doing the expat thing, maybe even part-time, and still keep an open mind. And maybe I could go to the Philippines or Malaysia. I qualify for a retirement visa with my age, income. I've done the research on it. I most certainly could go live in Malaysia, Thailand, Philippines on a retirement visa, and go in there and explore, take my time, get to know somebody. And if somebody I really, really, truly, genuinely connected with, she was younger than me, young enough to have children, maybe I would give it a go. I don't know if I'd get married, maybe, but I definitely would consider a long-term relationship and kids of my own, maybe. But then I struggle, well, you're Jim, you're 51 years old. Maybe it's a little too late for that. Maybe just have a, relationship with no kids, and, cause you'll hear, man, I can't imagine being 51 years old and having kids and all this and that. And I get that. It would be a lot for me to sign up for, and, the financial, increase and all of that to do that. But we'll see. I still keep an open mind. That's the nice thing about us men is we can postpone that, unlike women who have that time frame to have children. We can still make babies late in life as long as the woman's young enough to have them. So anyway, that's all I really...
He's going to go overseas, bro. If he's already looking into the visas, it's already crossed his mind. I wouldn't be surprised. I got to look his channel. Has he made any stuff? He really needs to go overseas. He already had one good video. He's making just some random shit here. If he went overseas and shared his experience and showing people how much his life would change and just stay active over there in those countries, just like he's doing here, he's showing himself being active and stuff, swimming, whatever, but do that over there in a nice tropical environment where the view on the beach is super pretty and, you'll probably have a woman or two on your arms and stuff like that. It'd be completely different. His channel would blow up. Let's see what some of the comments say. The most frustrating thing is, as a man not having a girlfriend / being single, everyone assumes you're gay. Jim, I'm 52, never married, no kids. Nothing wrong with this. I knew years ago that I'd be biting off more than I could chew with family life, so I never pursued it. There's a woman here saying, I'm 41, never married, no children. Tried many times to meet a right man, but it didn't happen. Now I live without expectations about marriage and learn to enjoy life. I'm 50, you're basically telling my story. Yeesh. 46, never married, no kids. 53 years old, British man, never married, no kids. Golly, man. What are all these old people going to do when they get to that age range where they, are going to need care, need some help? It's not going to be easy, man. That guy, he's still healthy. Like he said, he looks like he's in really good shape. He's super active based on the stuff we saw on his channel. But one day soon, 70, who knows when, it'll hit you that you're going to have, health problems, and having someone by your side to help care for you is going to make a world of difference. Otherwise, you're going to have to pay for treatment, for care, and you might not have the funds for that. Be very careful, guys, with this whole I'm better off alone mentality. We are social creatures, very social animals. Before going down that route, I'd recommend you guys just go straight up to Southeast Asia, some of you that are older, and see what it's like. Maybe get you a girl and see if that changes your mind on, the perspective of relationships and kids. Because dying old and alone is not a fun way to go. And this guy, Mega Simp, Mike, I will never give up on being a nice man. I'll die on that hill. Stay being nice man, Jim. The alternative just isn't a possibility. You don't have to go around whistling and smiling. Just remember, nice men save the world and make it a better place. Yeah, I don't think this guy knows what a nice guy is, actually. Good, virtuous men? Sure. Well-mannered men? Yeah. But nice guys? No. Nice guys don't save shit. Nice guys get taken advantage of. Thoughts on this guy's experiences, man? How many of you could relate to it? I do have an older audience here, so probably a ton of stories in the comment section. And the links are in the description below for his channel too, if you want to show him some love. Sign up to the second one if you haven't already, and join us on some private calls, guys. It's a pleasure speaking with you. We got members from 18 to 65, and guys that are overseas already, or working on going overseas, or staying in the U.S. Some married for decades, others virgins. So we'll find you got a little bit of everything, and we're all sharing our perspectives, our experiences, and just getting ahead in this crazy world step by step. We'll see you guys on the next one. Take care, everybody.